61年前、一発の原子爆弾が20万人もの市民の命を奪いました。あれから半世紀、人々は憎しみや悲しみを乗り越えて立ち上がり、家を建て、家族を育み、そして町を築き上げました。美しい町に成長したこの中心の被爆の地を、人々は二度とこのような悲劇が起こらないようにという思いを込めてグラウンドゼロと呼びました。けれども世の中、今でも毎日テロや戦争のニュースであふれています。21世紀を迎え、こんなに文明の発展した世の中に住んでいるのに、世の中問題が大変多いです。皆さんはこのような矛盾についてどのようにお考えになりますでしょうか。
The pull and the promise of the future is stronger than the push of the past. It is really an honor and a pleasure for me to be here today, and I wish to commend the extraordinary work of the Junior Chamber for having this gathering. Early this morning, I was taking a walk in the Hiroshima Peace Park. Some of you may be familiar with the different colors that we have in the trees right now. Palm trees, pine trees, there's cedar, oak, there's maple, there's the sakura, and of course, there is the Hiroshima pink oleander. Many of these seeds were given right after the atomic bomb or shortly after, and they come from all over the world, some of them. It always reminds me of what my Sufi teacher used to say: the pull and the promise of the future is stronger than the push of the past. My friends, I have worked all my life for the United Nations, but I think that there are very few places where I have felt that the United Nations flag was more appropriate than to see it next to the dome. Some of you may have seen it next to the dome. The reason for that is that Hiroshima is universal. Its implications are for all of humanity. And maybe that is why we get such an extraordinary people like the panelists today to visit this city. Hiroshima is something of a miracle. Somebody told me recently that he could never live in Hiroshima because he was afraid he would forget the significance of Hiroshima. I could understand what he said, but at the same time I find that Hiroshima is not a sad place. It's a grave place. It has gravity, it has seriousness, it has this past, but it's also a place of hope because of its own resurrection. And in our daily lives, we sometimes forget that we live in a very, very special place. I think for the world today, with all that has been happening in the past weeks and months, Hiroshima is a constant reminder of two possible scenarios for our future. It's a cautionary tale about what we should not do, and it's also a promise that we may be able to resurrect. And I think the choice, as we will discuss over the next 2 days, is probably with us. In closing, I would like to remind some of you of what Stephen Hawking, the Cambridge University mathematician and physicist, said in June in a talk in Hong Kong. He said that he did not believe that human beings will survive the next 100 years. He said that nuclear war, global climate change, or an yet unknown disease would probably destroy our human race as we know it. And his recommendation was to build colonies elsewhere in space. I think, however, we have some time for the choice to make. I think luminaries like the Dalai Lama, the Archbishop Tutu, Betty Williams, and many, many wonderful people who have come to Hiroshima have constantly reminded us that in this place we have the two destinies of human beings untold, and we must make our choices more clearly. I hope that we will make the right choice. In the hope of centuries of autumn breezes in the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, 皆様どうもありがとうございました。